You know how they call a song that gets in your head and an earworm? You can't get rid of it. I get that way with thoughts. When I think a thought. Like I've been thinking a thought about someone had mentioned to me that I had the tires on a specific rig, Daphne the Sport. I had them on backwards. And that got me to thinking, aside from the only tire that I can think of off the top of my head and have on hand that actually mentions anything about direction of rotation is the Traxxas Canyon Trail. It clearly tells you it goes that way. And I can kind of see that because the forward point of the tread goes that way. If we take a tire and put it backwards, all the chevrons point backwards. So maybe that makes sense. Does it make a difference in the real world? I can't say that I've ever mounted canyon trails backwards, so I don't know. I have a couple rigs here that have tires that are inarguably directional. Blue Sky High runs these dirt track showdowns, which, I mean, clearly you can run them that way, or you could run them this way. And to me, that looks backwards because the points of these go that way. And if you look closely at the wear pattern on the tires on here, it has definitely been run in this configuration since the tires went on. So we're gonna try it. We're gonna try the tires backwards, assuming that this is forwards, as that's how it's always run. The idea came to be from Daphne the Sport, who has never actually run the tires this way. I had them the other way around and was told that that is backwards. To me, that looks backwards, so I don't know. The only other one that I can think of here that is a tire that appears directional-ish are the tusks on Argentina the Phoenix, which of that set of four are the least what I would call directional. Like they kind of point forward that way, but you could mount them around the other way and they would kind of point forward that way. So I would like to do like 4-ish basic tests where I just go up an obstacle or around an obstacle, then take the tires off, flip them left to right, and just do it again immediately afterwards. I don't really have any ideas at this point of what that's going to be. I'm hoping it will pop into my head when I get back there. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Can you run a crawler tire backwards? Let's find out. First up, with forward tires, what I would consider forward tires, Argentina the Phoenix, approaching what was gate 1 on the most recent 6 gate, is quite dry and loose. This is on 6% overdrive. Getting the rear tires really into the loose stuff. This is a spot most rigs tend to kind of get mired in. The staggering at the block sort of matches the wheelbase. Little bump. Come on. This is I think this is a particularly good test area because it's slow. So it really gives me an idea of whether or not a tire is performing any differently. It feels about the same, still 6%. Once again, stuck in that kind of same platform. No real good landing spot for a bump there. And keeps running wide. All right, let us try a little shift here. All right, this is 33% overdrive now. Yeah, I think I really, we're not going to worry about that gate. It feels a little better. There we go, a little pop to the top. So 33% was definitely the key there. That was Argentum running with tires forward, and we were going to switch it right over to tires quote-unquote backwards. Here now, Argentum approaching the same obstacle with tires reversed. I don't know if you can see that. This is back on 6% overdrive. I mean, I think the only thing that would be definitive is if it gets a, if it just runs a straight shot. I just swapped left to right. The fronts are still the fronts and the rears are still the rears to try to isolate that little variable. That might have held a little better, but I don't know if it was just a better line choice. Still kind of bouncing at the 6%. Rear tire bagging up more than what I recall with the tires mounted the other direction. Can I get a grab up? Get a grab. Pivot it. Still kind of getting stuck on that prow. It doesn't feel any different to me. All right, 33%, which was the key with tires in the forward configuration. Slow that wheel speed down a little. Want to try to get around that prow section if it will hold. Bump. Too much bump. All right, that wasn't the tire. That was me. Let's try a little wider approach angle. And some real soft stuff now. Yeah, I would like to say something definitive, like I feel it has more or less forward drive, but yeah, still hung up the same exact spot. Yeah, that felt precisely the same. If that had been a blind test where I didn't know what was what, I wouldn't be able to tell you that this was backward or forward. That felt exactly the same. Yeah. I could run them that way and never know the difference. Up to who's next? All right, coming up next, tires to an altogether different extreme. The dirt tracks showdowns, to me, are closer to a tractor tire. Like it's fairly obvious which direction they're supposed to run, but I mean, is that just perception? Do I think that it's obvious which way they should run? He's trying to claw his way out of the loose stuff. His short wheelbase tends to help out here a little bit. Get that tire up and across. I mean, one could argue that that is a better tire for this particular condition on this obstacle. Bigger lug, they're wider. He's trying to take an alternate way down, and he will be back shortly with the tires on the other way. All right, Blue Sky High. Dirt Track Showdowns mounted in what I personally consider to be backwards, but we might all learn something together here. That's dirt. That's not a lack of traction. Come on. Okay, this one does feel a little more, and I'm going to use the word here, dippy. Like, when the front end gets up onto a rock, it just kind of wants to push off. Like, it's not clawing on. Like, right there, when they were the other way, that driver front would claw on and pull it over. Cutting it back the other way, push the nose down. It doesn't look like it's going to get out of that sitting position, so let's come at it again. Get a little more to the right hand here. If I can get clear the front bumper. There we are. Transitioning from dirt to rock is one of the most difficult transitions. Yeah, that was a definite backslide right there. So it made it to the top last time in short order. So whereas the tusks didn't really show a definitively better way one way or the other, I think at least on this condition, it's pretty much inarguable that the showdown needs to run the other way. It has a forward and a backward. I'm still not 100% convinced that the tusks do. More testing required. But the showdown, come on, come on. Yeah, see that outer tire just bump, bump, bump. It's just sliding to the right instead of grabbing and pulling over. There we go. So we get to the top, but that took a while, and there was a lot of, the word I like to throw around is feel. It didn't feel as confident going up that. All right, can we get back down? Can we turn this thing around? No, we're in the flag, and we broke the flag. Yeah. Showdowns? Yeah. Mount them the way that you think they should be, chevron forward. This position backwards, it just doesn't work. As well. Here's Daphne the Sport on Pitbull Growler ATs. This is the direction that I've been told is forward, but to me seems like reverse. We have a very closely spaced block, so gotta try to find any place where we can get a real crag to hook in. Now mind you, if you had watched the most recent 6-gate, Daphne was the test rig that came and set what I called the par time for the courses, and she did this faster than every run except one, and that wasn't appreciably slow. It felt, here I go feeling again, it felt a little slippy, but not remarkably so. Let's see here. I mean, that feels as sure-footed as she usually does. I don't really have an issue with how that tire felt this way relative to the other. But I'm kind of going against the rules here. They were already mounted in reverse, and I have to walk back and get a 5mm wrench to take her tires off. So there's the notable portion right there. That little stick where she gets stuck there. Can't manage to pull that rear up over that rock. I will do my best to replicate that little midpoint there to see if there's any difference with the tires on the other way. After that run back to the shop in the drizzle, I took the opportunity to just put Daphne back on conventional flanged 7mm lock nuts because tires are going to be on and off a couple times. So this is how I had always run Daphne. The tires were just like this. Want to try to get a little bit more over to the right to see if I can get that tire up that flat. Okay, right there. Pull it around. Got a little dip hang there. Need to get a little more right. No, more right than that even. Try a really far right access. I think that might be too far right. Okay. I don't know, this is, I mean, so far it's looking good for mounted the other way. Trying to get that top the outside front to pull. There, right there, right there. Okay. Then this was the section the other one didn't want to bite up. Right, that face, right there. If it can pull across that top, right there. Yeah. I think it's fairly, to me at least, on this obstacle, I would say that tread direction works better. Reversing down. Yeah. So on this westerly entrance to Oblivion, I would say that with the tusks, there was no difference. The showdowns significantly better in what I deem to be forward rotation, and with the growlers, marginally better this way. Like they're a bit better. They're a bit more predictable. They have the most tightly spaced lugs of the three, so they have a little more trouble with how soft the dirt powder is in between the slabs. They have to really find crag to find bite. But I would still say this way felt more consistent and enables me to do things like that, like bridge, really in the soft stuff there. Yeah, Daphne will be back in just a moment with Canyon Trails Forward. After outfitting Daphne with the gunmetal steelies and the cut and siped Canyon Trails, she remarked that she now looks like a, in her words, a garden tractor. And I said, yeah, but with the sound of that gearbox and the noise of that servo, you sound like a garden tractor too. She said she was going to go home, but we are professionals, so we will continue. I mean, up till this point, maybe the growlers are more beat than I thought. If that had just been a straight pull over the top, I guess I would have had to have retired the growlers, because she took the first. Well, even so, yeah, we have to do that one again. I mean, maybe it's a fluke. Are Canyon Trails that good? Could they be that good? I did just clean them because they were particularly filthy from having been run in mud and stuff, but it could also just be that this is more of a big lug obstacle, so the tires with bigger lugs are doing a little better. All right, can she pull this across to the right? Okay, that's a belly hang, but wow. Okay, so of the 4 tires tested so far, the Traxxas Canyon Trails, these are Ironside's day-to-day tire that have the Amazon hair buns for foams, and they are doing somewhat remarkable here. You notice a bunch of buildup down there at the bottom because it's so loose and sandy, but with these tires with their cut lugs, they really give you the ability to adjust a line. Oop. Oh, she's apart. All right, let's flip them around the other way, see if it's different. So I think I like to be proven wrong even more than the next guy. Just mounting these, I feel like, before hitting this, I feel like they're going to behave somewhat similarly to the showdowns went backwards, because the way the lugs face is not conducive. And yet I say that, and I feel like right there it got out of the sand a little easier. I'm hearing a lot more lug noise. I don't know how well that's transmitting. But there's a lot more of the fup, fup, fup of lugs catching and releasing. I can see the dust being popped out of the in between the lugs from the lug fupping. And yeah, there is just not as much trying. Get that wheel speed real down, trying to get up. Little bump, come on. Get up. All right, let's try a little different tack to that. A little more right. Will it get the tires up? Almost. This is kind of an in-betweener. There we go. That was a pretty good bite up. All right, gonna now try to bridge across that face. Yeah, see, there's that push. Like, the forward traction is still pretty good, but I think the negative impact is most on the side lug. There we go. So, with the canyon trails, reverse versus forward, it's marginal. Like, you could run them backwards and they're not as good, but they're not terrible. Like, showdowns backwards are terrible. These, like the holding, that's fine, right? A lot more of the lug. I'm just gonna stick with, call it fupping, because that's the sound it makes. It makes a fup 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 noise. So a lot more of that sound. But yeah, not terrible. So we'll move on to obstacle 2, and I think I'm just gonna kind of bounce around in whatever order as the thoughts come to me, because like right now Daphne has her tires backwards. I think everybody's backwards right now. All right, good. All right, next one, we'll start with everybody backwards. I literally just moved 25 feet to my right. We are going to go single marker on this one. You might be able to start to see the drizzle coming on the rocks here. This should be a very different encounter here because there's no dirt. What happened before happened mere moments ago, so this is the tires still officially backwards. All right, see, that's a very good spot because that's a spot that I can compare rig to rig. If we knock that marker off, it's fine. Yeah, little slide down there. But as I mentioned on the obstacle previous, it's not dramatic. It's a little slippy. But, I mean, no real problems there. And that's not exactly a super easy line to do. I'll get these tires flipped around real quick and try to get this in. All right, tires back on in the Traxxas denoted forward rotation. The center of one of the hubs on one of those Injora Steelies just snapped out. So now it's in there kind of like a washer. Yeah. Significantly less slip there. Got a little high centered, bringing it around. Higher line here, unfortunately, almost out of the frame. And am I going to roll it down? Yes. Ooh. All right, let's try that again. So the forward traction, certainly better. But I don't know if I just took a bad line. Okay, here's that spot up the gully here, which had a lot of slip with them reverse, and no slip at all with them forward. So certainly much better. So the forward is actually forward. I feel like, though, I don't know, I guess maybe because the front end was sliding, I could take this tighter with the tires backwards. Maybe I was just not trying to race the rain quite as much first time around. Yeah, Daphne is a very stable individual. Just pulls that around three-wheel motion all the way. Certainly, on this type of surface, on, you know, the closest thing I have to large rock, the tires in their marked rotation direction are much better. That is much better. So yeah, I mean, already, I'm gonna say, run your canyon trails the way they tell you to run them. Let's try to get a couple more on here. All right, here is Blue Sky High. Attempting this in, those are reverse tires. So everybody should be starting with tires reversed. This is generally not a surface specifically geared towards a tire with a lug and a lug spacing this large. That is a impressive display of three-wheel motion there. Pushing the front quite a lot. Pushing almost out of frame, trying to wrap it around and not get upset by this rock. And that was a quick way down. All right. But this section through the gully, see a little fupping there. Little sideways, little crab motion. Little side slide, like the tires are gripping sideways but not forward. That rock pivot is a little tough because his pumpkin keeps getting caught. Let's try to line this up one more time here. Yeah. And, oh. And, all right, flipping them around. Bish bosh. Back into forward configuration. Try the same line up the gully. Got a little wide left. But yeah, it's like the tires pull harder. See, I got a better line into that rock-ish. It feels like just more, it's more forward traction. Yeah. Little fender popping there. He manages to knock the marker off. Blue Sky High is falling down a lot today. One last, try to clean this once. I think the raw forward traction is fairly visible. I'm definitely doing some get it too sideways type of stuff here. That's not a great angle. Let's throw a reverse in it, get it a little tighter. Coming down and around. Yeah, his transitioning today, that is very tippy. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Yeah, once I'd cleared that spot, it felt pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty tight for Blue Sky High coming around. Yeah, once again, I mean, I would say that's fairly conclusive with the showdowns that there is a front and a back. And this is the front because it did notably better on mixed and perceptibly better on a full hard pack surface. So I'm just going to go out and say, like the Canyon Trails, run these this way. Here's Argentina, the Phoenix back. The tusks are, yes, still in what I regard as backwards. I mean, aesthetically, the other way looks like forward. But again, it doesn't really seem to matter. This is 6% overdrive right now. And the Phoenix making it look effortless. Throw a little dig in there. I mean, if you have the tools, use those tools. I mean, he's just like a surgeon down this. Let's try to pop over that rock. Little belly slide there, and like absolutely drama free. That was without question the easiest one to wheel around that little loop. Switching to the big. This is on the 33% overdrive. You can really see those back tires barely moving. Again, with a back tire pretty much off the ground, that whole ascent took it in too tight. Here we go. Let's dig it out a little again if we can. Can I get it over? Yes. All right, 33% descending. I would ordinarily switch this into 6%, and that's why. It just doesn't descend as well. All right, let's flip them around to what I get. I mean, at this point, there is no forward and reverse as far as I'm concerned with tusks, but we'll turn them around the other way and see how it does. I still think the tusks just look more aesthetically pleasing this way, so this is kind of my forward with the little, there's like a clipped chevron in the center lug, and to me it looks like it's pointing the correct direction, but let's see. I mean, that was too far left and still made it across that pretty easily. Any tumble there is from getting to a non-manageable situation. This is the real teller here, and I don't feel like it was any different with the tires one way versus another. I think I got the nose too high to dig. Yeah. Almost powered out of that. Honestly, this is looking kind of damning for the way I had them mounted before, because like through this section, it's same whichever direction they were facing. Let's just try not cutting so far left. Let's not worry about the marker. We'll just cut it this way. Yeah, I just keep putting myself into bad positions. Yeah, that rear was way off the ground. So suddenly it's looking like it's bizarro tire world. Forward is reverse and reverse is forward, because suddenly I can no longer navigate an obstacle that I spun around drama free with the tires rotating the opposite direction, and now I've rolled it like 4 or 5 times. Maybe it's a throttle. I'm giving it too much gusto. Yeah, that's pretty high. It's out of frame, I realize now, so no one gets to see how high up the rock that went. All right, excellent use of dig there. Try going over the same rock and the same slide, and brings it around. I don't know. Through this section right here, which is I think most important, there was no real tangible difference between the two. I don't know why I keep rolling this thing over. Let's hit the center gully here now. at 33%. See if that might keep it a little more planted, because I keep rolling this over, and yeah, it is. That's a good bit better. So I don't know if this was a tire lug directionality issue. And unlike before, once you start coming down, you put it back into 6. That's going over. It looks like I've got a vendetta against the Phoenix, and I'm just beating the hell out of it this morning. Yeah, I'm flip-flopping on my own position at this point. The way that I thought was backwards is apparently the way I should be running them, because I am having a bear of a time bringing it down to the bottom with the tires forward. And that was markedly easier with the tires on the other way. As I'd said on the first obstacle, I felt like these were very close. Like it could go one way or the other. Now I'm feeling like this lug orientation here is backwards now. So I think the other way is probably better. And now I've forgotten. I'm going to have to set it next to the other rigs to see what's forward and what's backward. The drizzle has slowed for a moment. I think I can get at least one more of these in. I feel like it has to be that side hill. So we will take Argentum through here, as he's been very tippy and he would like to go back inside. And we will just do the usual around the horn there. Plenty of grip in this configuration for that side hill section. Dropped a tire into the dirt there on the back side. Alright. Nobody else has the option of using dig to pivot that. Alright. Now this right here, this section right, maybe right here, I think might be telling as to which lug direction grabs and which lug direction slips. Because that's pretty much full lock. Sort of an off camber. Try to get in between these two stones and just push it across. Alright, so we're gonna try to program the muscle memory to remember what that felt like and try to replicate it with the tires turned around the other way. Whether forward or backward, here are the tusks flipped around to the other direction. Yeah, I think this whole time, let's see if I can stay out of that dirt over there. And it's still pushed a little bit wide. Okay, but I have not used any dig yet. Got a little beyond that rock, high centered on a big old boulder. But I feel like there's a bit more steering. Okay, now let's get into this off camber section here. Is it pushing wider? Because I came up a little tighter on that rock. It is pushing a little wider. It's definitely pushing wider. Okay. I feel like I need to do it one more time, just to see if it was an angle. Like mentally, I'm pushing the rig too fast, or not getting my line right. That was another little nose drop there. Going wide out again. We will go around the boulder this time. Dig it over. Okay, let's just try to line it up here at the knob and... Okay, I think I actually initiated my turn right about there. Yeah, it definitely pushes more. It's got more push down. So so it felt more sure-footed on the straight verticals, but I feel like the front end, I feel like the nose is pushing more with the tusks in this direction. Yeah, I'm gonna call the tusks a toss-up at this point. I'm gonna run Blue Sky High across here, tires forward, just because he was saying it looked like fun. But I'm not sure there's a reason to run it in reverse, as the grip differential between the forward and the reverse mounting positions with this tire is significant. Pretty much everybody puts a belly across that rock coming down. We will see how much push there is coming down. I try to initiate the turn right there. Yeah, it definitely has more edge bite than the way the tusks were mounted. I don't even know call them forward reverse. So this is with the chevron shape backwards. So the two-pronged end of the chevron aiming forward had a lot of push. This, I mean, the showdowns, they don't push here. Like, I guess there's enough grip that, you know, choose whichever way you want to ascend, and these will do it. Plenty of drag brake, as one would expect. Get it really off camber, and it will still draw that tire up and in between the rocks. So, conclusively, for sure, these tires go this way. Much the same situation with the Sport still rocking the canyon trails, because I'm honestly blown away by how much more forward grip they're exhibiting across a variety of surfaces relative to the growlers in either configuration. Look how tight Daphne can run that turn. That was the quickest way down. There's no point, much like the showdowns, there's really no point in running the canyon trails backwards. They initially started off not feeling much different, but as the surfaces change and I wheel it a little more, those have the rotation arrows on them. Look at that, up the face of that. Those have those rotation arrows on them for a reason. I really need to stop taking that so tight. Bump. All right. That was a first gear bump. Daphne is on the loose on these new tires. Yeah. Looks and sounds like a garden tractor, but you can't, like, how close, like, there's no grip on polyethylene, polypropylene, whatever these pipes are made out of. And she can get down on the edge and then just pull it around. Little slip there, but can turn so tight. I think the tire on the day I've been most impressed with its performance under these particular conditions has been these hair bun filled canyon trails. They are doing remarkably, like that side hill is perfectly stable. And she's got so much steer angle, can just throw it around. It's like having dig. Okay, nobody's got unlockable diffs. So maybe I will try, oh, yeah, like she is so sure-footed, all the way, even onto the pipe a little. So where does that leave us? I think the showdowns are inarguably better this way. The direction that we expect them to run, with the large face of the tread aiming that way. That's how they've always been run, and that's how they will always be run, because it just did better that way. The tusks are a different animal altogether. They are currently running in this, as I had mentioned before, there's this sort of chevron pattern, and we have the single point this way and the double points that way. when they're like that, it feels like the steering, particularly off camber, has more push to it. But in some situations, it feels like this configuration has more forward bite. In other situations, it feels like when they're rotating this way forward, this kind of double block shape has more forward bite. So I think the tusks are unusual in that the orientation that you mount them is dependent on a lot of variables that I can't isolate, having them on one vehicle with one setup, driving them basically in one place. On something else, they might work better the other way. On a different surface, they might work better this way, they might work better the other way. There's always the option of, because you have a vehicle with big selectable overdrive, you could run it this way in the back and flipped around the other way in the front. I don't know. I think there's a lot of mounting options available to you with the tusks. I've heard people on the internet rumble about how they don't like these. I think they're fantastic, particularly on a selectable overdrive vehicle. Like, these tires act differently on the two different positions. When I tried the Phoenix with landmines, honestly, 6% overdrive and 33% overdrive felt exactly the same. So these take advantage of that, and they're mushy soft, but they're mushy soft enough. The rig still has good turn in, even off camber, so they don't fold too much. I could go on and on about these tires. They're some of my favorite tires, but again, they are very situational. They kind of didn't do the best of the four quote-unquote directional tires that I tried today. I think these were the dark horse where... and again, there's a lot of variables, and they are tough to isolate. So this is a rig that has spent almost its entire life on these tires, and their foams are getting really mashed in. So the growler, which could be mounted either of those two ways, and to me, that still looks like forward, and that looks like reverse. But at the same time, there wasn't a wide disparity between either of the directions. And these growlers have definitely seen some rock in their time. They are getting very smush. They, again, have the tightest lugs of any of the tires, so they really rely on getting that lug up against something hard to give them bite. So I would say, I would still run them this way because I couldn't really tell the difference between the two. That just looks more aesthetically correct to me than that does. Whichever is... so what do people think? Is the right hand forward or is the left hand forward? I still think this is forward. And if and when they do go back on Daphne, she might spend some time on these, with them, of course, mounted in the correct direction and not reversed. Here I can show you what I've done to the wheels. Over-torqued? Yeah, probably. That's the outside, so those are just broken out. They appear to still function. You just got to drop this little guy in there to get them to work. What I might have to do here is steal some of the it's the same wheel, so or buy another set of wheels. But of the tires tested, rotation that way, yeah, like they have to be run that way. They're worser when you go this way. Thing just fell out again. So there you have my thoroughly unscientific results. Yes, a directional tire, particularly a tire marked as directional, is directional. But some tires, most notably the showdowns, are not marked directional, but are in fact quite directional. I realize now I could have tested another, the KLRs. You've got point that way, or flip them around and it's point that way. I'm pretty sure I've run these in both directions. And when you have the center lugs aiming forward, the outer lugs are aiming backward. So if you put them this way, the outer lugs are aiming forward and the center lugs are aiming backward. So these are directional, but I think they fall kind of into the same relationship as these, or perhaps the Tusks, where that directionality is going to be dependent on what you're running and what you're running it on. So unless a tire says, I am directional, rotate me this direction, or has a big, obvious lug to it, like that, I think the best course of action is to just try it, you know? You just have to put it on and take it off, and then do it so many times that you break the centers out of your wheels. But you will arrive at the tire orientation that works the best for you. Unless it says explicitly, do it this way, do it your way. Like, you never know. You won't know until you try. I didn't know about the showdowns until I tried, and that was a self-fulfilling prophecy there. But anyway, thanks for sticking through today's ramblings with this. We're going to try that. I will probably do something about these wheels. We will try Daphne on these for a little while. Ironsides is running on a different set of tires for a while, kind of testing some new stuff out. That might come up again in a video in the future. We will see. But thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.